This conference will now be recorded.
Right, yesterday we have done disk management. Today topic is user management or user administration. Here we are going to discuss about how to create the groups, how to create the users, how to monitor the users, how to create the passwords, how to change the passwords, and what is password aging, create a disk quarters. All this stuff we discuss in the user administration or user management. First of all, what are the types of users? One is called super user or administrator or root user. The user ID, the user ID for root always 0. User ID for root user always 0. When we create a user, by default, it is going to get one user ID. That user ID is unique. User ID is always unique. For super user, user ID always 0. Whenever we install operating system, when install operating system Linux, what account is by default create? That is called root account. Root account by default create. We are not going to create this root account manually. At the time of installation, we are creating the password, the root password. That's it. The account is already created by default. We have to give the root password. So this is the default account created automatically at the time of installation. Then normal user, system user, or normal. Normal users you have to create manually, not by default. At the time of installation, you have option called creating the normal user. Only one normal user we can create during installation. The many users you want to create, we can create later after installation. So normal user IDs starts from 1000 onwards. User IDs from normal user always starts from 1000. System users. There are two types of system users: static users, and dynamic users. Two types of system users: static and dynamic. Static means what? These accounts by default create during installation. Creates at the time of OS installation. You are not going to create these users manually, create automatically at the time of installation. That is called static. Dynamic means what? These accounts will be created automatically when we install some application. For example, if I install Jenkins name of the tool DevOps. If I install Jenkins tool with this name Jenkins, an account automatically create. If you install Tomcat, Tomcat is one of the application. With this name, Tomcat, an account automatically creates. That is called dynamic. Dynamic means what? These are not by default. These accounts create automatically when you install some application. Dynamic means what? If you uninstall it, these accounts automatically delete. When we install it, create automatically. When we uninstall it, delete automatically. That is called dynamic. These are not default. So either for static users or dynamic users, the user IDs are 1 to 999. 1 to 999 are user IDs for system users, either static or dynamic. Next, network users. What are these network users? Network users are not going to create on local system. Network users are going to create on remote system. For example, when you create the account with Gmail, you are providing username and password. Where that account is going to create not in your laptop, it is going to create in the Gmail server. That is called network user. You want to access applications, the applications on internet, we require credentials, login name and password. We are doing net banking application. You are doing a transaction through net banking, require login name, credentials, where the credentials are not on local system, on remote system. That is called network user. And pseudo user. Basically, pseudo users are nothing but normal user, but having some admin privileges. What is this later we'll discuss. Pseudo users are nothing but normal user having some extra privileges, admin privileges. So in user administration, user management, we are going to create how to create normal users and how to create pseudo users. Super user by default create at the time of installation. System users are by default automatically create. Network users, we are not going to create local system, create on remote system. And we'll discuss only pseudo users and normal users. Before you understand how to create the user, first of all, tomorrow I'll give my laptop to you and asking that copy some files from my laptop to pen drive. I gave my laptop and asked him to copy some files from C drive. From C drive, there are some files are there from C drive. Copy those files from C drive to pen drive. Can you able to copy? No, right? You need a credential. Any resource, either a mobile or laptop, a Gmail account, a Facebook account, any resource you want to access, they require credentials, login name, and password. So user management is very, very important topic in Linux. Tomorrow join as a Linux administrator or a DevOps engineer or a cloud admin. Very first day, what they're going to do, they're going to create one credential to you, company account. That is called user administration. Now, you need to understand first what is a group. What is a group? A group is a collection of users who can share the files and the other system resources. A group consists of group name, group ID, and the list of users that belongs to the group. That is called group. A group is a collection of users. Groups are classified as two types. One is called primary group. The other one is secondary. There are two types of groups, primary and secondary. What is primary? It's a group. The user must be created. Without a primary group, the user cannot create and the user cannot have more than one primary. Without a primary group, we cannot create the user and we cannot have more than one primary group. So when we create a user must have at least one primary group. We cannot create more than one. Primary group is mandatory. What is secondary? It's a group. The user can also belong. The user can belong maximum of 15 secondary. Meaning what? User can be member to more than one group. That is called secondary group. User can member to more than one group. That is called secondary. Secondary group can be more than one, but primary group cannot be more than one. How many secondary groups we can add for one user? Maximum 15 secondary groups. A simple example for this: when you're trying to open the account in the bank, there are two groups in the bank. One is savings, the other one is current. You have to fill the form, right? While filling the form, there are two groups: savings and current. You have to select any one of that first, either savings or current. Without that, we can't open the account. That is called primary. Later, once the account is created with the primary, later we can add the secondary group as per your requirement. Maximum we can add 15 secondary. That is difference between primary and secondary. So how to create the group? Syntax is group add -g group ID and group name. To create the group, the syntax is group add -g group ID and group name. Group IDs 0 to 999 are user defined. It cannot be used. So group IDs must always start from 30. Maximum we can create 60,000. Group IDs 0 to 999 are reserved, user defined, which cannot be used. Group IDs always starts from 1000. Maximum we can get up to 60,000. Now create the group add -G. Group ID starts from 1000. Group ID starts from 1000. Group name is DBA or DevOps or AWS or Cloud or Sales or Finance. Any group name. Group IDs always start from 1000 onwards because 0 to 999 are reserved. Which of those are called system users? These are the reserved, cannot be used. Always starts from 1000 onwards. Sometimes when I'm creating the user, group add -G group ID 1000, group name is DBA, that gives error, group ID already exists. At the time of installation, do you remember we are creating one account? First of all, you have to give the password for root account. After that, ask for the user creation. You are creating one user, right? A normal user. For that user, it is going to create a user ID called 1000. So this 1000 already created at the time of installation. It won't allow you again same group ID. Same group ID. So we need to change this option. Whenever we encounter this error, group ID already exists, then you need to take next number 1001, 1002, 1003, and so on. Because we don't know what group ID is already created. You want to know what group ID is already created, you have to check the file, cat /etc/group. That I'll tell you later. Okay. So group ID already exists. Then you have to take the next number 1001, 1002, and so on. Rather than creating this group ID, because I don't know what group ID is already created, you just run the command. You just run the command group add group name. What happens if I run the command group add group name? The group ID by default create automatically starting from 1000 onwards. If 1000 is already created, it is going to take next number 1001. Already created, let's take next number 1002, and so on. So we least bother about what group ID to create. You just run the command group add group name. The group ID always automatically create starting from 1000 onwards. So where to check this information? So how to check group name and group ID? What are the group names and group IDs? There's a file /etc/group. File contains all group names and group ID. Both system and user all. There's a file called /etc/group which contains all the group names and group IDs. So how to check this file? How to check this file? We can use the cat command. Cat /etc/group. I create the group called DBA, right? Then how do you check the cat /etc/group? But if there are more than 1000 groups, it will scroll all the pages. I don't want to see all the groups. I would like to see only the DBA group, where this group is created or not. Then you know the command grep DBA /etc/group. We discussed earlier in the basic command. Grep is a command to search the pattern or string or word from the file. Pattern matching, string matching. So use any one of this command, cat /etc/group or grep. Don't open this file in vEditor. We should not edit this file manually. This is the system file. When group is created, this file automatically update. If group is deleted, this file automatically update. This is called system file. So don't open this file via editor and don't edit this file. This is about group creation. Next, creation of users. The command is user add -u user ID -g group ID -G group ID -c comment -c comment -s -s shell -d /home/user home directory -s/bin/shell. Then finally user. This is the syntax for user creation. Alright. So what is this option? -u for user ID. User ID is 0 to 99. 0 to 99 are reserved, which cannot be used. 0 to 99 are reserved, cannot be used. User IDs must always start from 1000 onwards. Maximum 63. User IDs start from 1000, maximum 63. -G stands primary group, small g stands primary group. Capital G stands secondary group. What secondary group the user also belongs? And -C for comment. Comment is what type of user? That is called comment. -D path of user home directory, where the user home directory should be created. Then -S for shell. -S for shell. All these are options in user create. Now, as we discussed earlier in Linux demo class, Unix architecture. What is Unix architecture? User always interact with the shell interact with the kernel will interact with the hardware. Without a shell, you cannot create a user. Without a shell, you cannot log into the user. Every user must have a shell to work. So, what are the types of shells available? SH Bourne shell, KSH Corn shell, CSH, C shell, CCSH, advanced C shell, GSH, G shell, Bash, born again, or alive shell. So there are so many shells available. We can use any one of these as you wish. But every Unix operating system has their own default shell. Every OS has their own default shell. Bourne shell is the default. Bourne shell is the default in Solaris. The default in Solaris, one of the Unix operating system. Corn shell is the default in HP Unix, HPX, and IBM AX. HP Unix, IBM Unix, IBM AX, Corn shell is the default. Linux default is Bash. Default shell Linux is Bash. Like every operating system has their own default shell. So you know what is shell, right? Shell is a command interpreter, or shell is interface between the user and the kernel. Whatever commands you are typing, Unix commands, all these commands are in the shell, not in the kernel. That's why Linux, that's why shell is a command interpreter. Right. Now create a user, user add, -u, user ID starts from 1000, -g primary group. I'd like to add this user to the primary group, that is DBA. I want to add this user to the DBA group, which is called primary group. I can specify the DBA group ID, but is it possible to remember this group ID? We can't, right? But I can remember the group name. In place of group ID, add the group name. So -g stands primary group. Without a primary group, user cannot be created. User cannot have more than one primary group. The primary group is mandatory. -G stands secondary group. If you want, you can add this user to the more than one secondary group, like sales, finance. Like that, we can add more than one secondary group. G for secondary. What next? -C for comment. Comment is what type of user? Let us say this user we created for DevOps. Then comment is DevOps engineer. With this user we are getting for cloud admin, specify the -C comment. For developer, -C developer, -C programmer. So comment can be any comment. What type of user? For what purpose you are getting this user? That is called comment. Then -D path, where the home directory should be created. Home directory is always under /home only. And username, any username, for example, Kiran. One more option we missed, that is -m. -m make directory. -m makes directory. Then -s. -s for shell /bin/bash, which is called default shell. Or you want to create the user with Bourne shell, type sh for Bourne shell. Username is here /com/Kiran is a home directory name, and this one is username. M for make directory. -M for make directory. So these are the options for user creation. But are you going to use all these options? Whenever we are creating user, are you going to use all these options? Not mandatory. So what options which we don't require for user creation, which are not mandatory for user creation, or what options I can ignore? I'll copy. So I'll have to create a user with the default shell. For the default shell bash, how to create the user with the default shell? Don't specify the shell. That's it. If shell is not defined, create the user with the default shell. So don't specify the shell at the time of creating user. Create the default shell. Do you require a home directory? Not required. It automatically create under /home only. By default create. I don't require. Do you write a, do you, is it mandatory for comment? Write the comment while creating user? No. I can add this comment later also. This comment we can add later also. Not required for user creation. Do you need secondary group? No. I don't know this user belongs to which secondary group. I can add this secondary group later after user creation. Right? Do you need a primary group? Yes. Without a primary group, user cannot be created. Do you need user ID? No. I don't know what user ID is already created. Don't specify the user ID. Create by default starting from 1000 onwards. Like we have a groups right 1000. Similarly here also by default takes starting from 1000 onwards. So finally user add -g group name which is called primary. Without a primary user cannot be created and user cannot have more than one primary group and username. But earlier in basic commands we discussed that user creation, user add. I just specify the username Rajesh something. Did I specify the primary group here? No, right? I can get the user add username. -g primary group is not mandatory. And the command user add username. So what is the difference here? The difference is -g group name and username. This is creation of user with user defined group, and this is creation of user with system defined. There's a difference. What is the meaning of system defined group? As I told you that without a group, user cannot be created, right? Then what this user Rajesh belongs to which group? What happens if I run the command user add username? With this username, a group automatically creates. With this username, create group automatically. Add this user to the group. Meaning what? Rajesh is the username. Rajesh also a group name. Both are same. Username, group name, both are same. So this is called creating user with UPG. UPG stands user private group. Creating user with UPG. UPG stands user private group. User private group means what? Username, group name, both are same. But in the real time, which command we are going to use? Creating user with user defined group or system defined. We'll always create the user with user defined group. As a Linux admin, system admin, your job is while creating user, we should know that this user belongs to which group. Based on that, we are going to assign the group for the user. Like while filling the form to open the account in the bank, you are specifying the group name, right? Savings are current. Based on that, they're going to get the user with that group. So this is best practice. What is best practice? Before we create the user, first create the group, add that user to the group. For general practice, just run the command user add username without knowing that what the group is going to create. What happens if you run the command user add username? Your username will be Rajesh and group name also Rajesh and name of the home directory also Rajesh. Name of the mailbox by default created. Mailbox also same Rajesh. This is called UPG. With that username, create the home directory, create the group, create the home directory, create the mailbox. Where usernames will be stored in a file /etc/passwd and /etc/shadow. So these two files contains usernames. Where the home directory will be created, where the group name will be created, where the group name will be stored /etc/group file. Where the home directory is going to create under /home. Where the user mailbox is going to create under /var/pool /mail. These are the default files. When you create the user, these files and directories are automatically updated. Right. So basically, /com is not a file. /com is a directory. And /var/pool/mail also a directory. Remaining all files. These two are directories. Is it clear, guys? Group creation, user creation. Any question? So take the photo. Right. So when we create a user, where that information will be stored, how to get the password for user? Type password, user, any user to create the password. Where this information will be stored, /etc/password contains all users information and /etc/shadow file contains users password info. You want to see all the users, run the command cat /etc/password. but you want to see the specific user, grep, what is my username here, Kiran, /etc /password. Same users passwords, cat /etc/shadow. We can see all the users with passwords for a specific user, grep, username. So how to check groups and how to check the users. Right. We'll continue tomorrow, same time.
హలో సార్ అప్పుడు ఏం రాలే ఇప్పుడే అంటావా హలో